Hey, Heather.
Heather,
Hello.
what's going
Uh,
on? How are the vibes, Heather?
It's so good to see the faces to the voices
I
that I
know,
know on
right?
Earth.
Yeah,
Oh my
right.
God. It's a different
Yes.
feel. It's a different feel, right,
Yes.
Heather?
Shout out to Cisco too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hey, Heather, thank you for being here. This is Vibe Sesh, episode 2, right, Brandon? B-Side. Can
Ooh.
you explain to Heather what we're trying to do with B-Side, Brandon?
Yeah, we're just trying to do authentic takes, first and foremost. And I think there's a lot of different topics we'd like to explore, much of which is right in your wheelhouse. So here you are. But you know, um, last time I talked to you, you were talking about the vortex and the rockets of
Mhm.
desire and all that stuff. I'd love to hear more about that tonight. And yeah, just I've always been interested in like Carl Jung and the idea about integration and shadow self and how our subconscious gets what it wants. And I think that's a really cool place to start. So, how are you doing, Heather?
I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be here. We haven't done
Mm.
the IG
Yeah.
spaces before, so
Yeah.
always good to have friends all over the internet, I suppose. Yeah,
Now,
those
are
are all
you
the
all from
topics I
the
love to
US
talk.
or where are you from?
We're all from the US. What about
No,
you?
I'm from
Okay.
Canada. I'm
Oh,
from
you're from
Canada.
Canada?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
What
Mm.
I'm from
Providence?
Germany.
I didn't know.
I'm Calgary, Canada.
Okay.
I've actually been to Canada recently.
Yeah. Well,
Lovely
but
Calgary
country.
is
I guess,
beautiful. That's
Lovely
beautiful up
country.
yeah.
there.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
I live right by Banff. It's
Heather.
gorgeous.
Man,
So,
that's
how
that's the place
you're
to be.
coming off the Bitcoin conference high? Tell us about that.
I
You know what was
am.
so interesting, Heather? And we can just start right now, guys. This is going to be an amazing show. We're going to break the internet tonight. Heather, right here, I just discovered is a genius. All right. And we're going to explain why. Because as the Vibe Samurai, every Vibe Sesh, I take a few hours to prepare for the guest. So Heather and I, we've known each other, I don't know, for a few less than a year. And we've met
Yeah.
each other a few times on Vibe Sesh. Not like
Mhm.
spending a long time on X, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
um so I was wanted to know what's your read of the Vibe Samurai for someone who knows patterns. You're a pattern reader. You talk about patterns on your post today. On today's post, Heather
I did.
wrote. She said, so she just got back from Vegas from a big conference, and she said a few years ago, I never would have imagined I'd be sitting on a Bitcoin conference panel talking about astrology, consciousness, macro cycles, Mercury retrograde, transformation, and the future of humanity. Yet it also totally makes sense because what I've realized is that all of these are really conversations about patterns, guys. Patterns.
Mhm.
Tell us more,
Mhm.
Heather. Tell us more because
I
it's going to be
mean,
fire, the pattern interrupt, and transformation. Heather, I get
yeah.
it. So I want to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, that's why we vibed, That's why even though we haven't known each other that long, it's like we are connected. We have been in the same space and time continuum more than once where we were on the same vibe.
Mm.
We were feeling the energy and nothing is coincidental. And oh, the police are literally asking me to come outside.
All right, go for it.
Okay, I'll be back.
I'll be here.
This is exciting.
I will be
Bro,
back.
you'll be back. Hey, what do you think so far? You excited? Guys, I'm telling you right now, Brandon, you're gonna die tonight. You're gonna die tonight because,
It's
bro,
really funny.
there's so many synchronicities. Go ahead. I know.
It's
Yeah.
really funny because I'm getting like an extremely strong vibe, like a positive vibe, and
Uh huh.
exactly in that moment, the comment with the vibe calm down came up. Like
What?
if I'm looking at it right now,
I don't understand, man.
basic, basically the
There was a
universe is trying
comment.
to tell me
Okay.
calm down with the vibe. I think,
Because too
like
much
for
vibe.
myself,
Too much
like for
vibe.
myself, like yeah, it's
Oh.
trying to make me center. I think it's hard to explain.
Hey, bro, what is your name? I don't even see your name.
Felix
Felix.
or
Okay.
Felix, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Where are you from again?
Germany, actually.
Oh, Germany.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I've
It's late
actually
over
lived
there.
in the
It's
US
2
for a little
a.m.
bit. Yeah,
It's
it's pretty
3
late.
a.m. And he has an exam tomorrow morning. Tell him about that. Tell him about that.
Oh yeah,
What are
like
you?
I'm actually doing my final written exams this like for my technician's degree like this week and next Tuesday.
And he's staying up for Vibe Sesh, Brandon.
Like I said, like the universe I think wants me to.
Hey, but what were you saying about that though? You messaged me and you said to me you left a comment and things like that. So tell us a little bit before we go back to Heather.
So basically, like what I think, like I've said, I have many different theories on what is contacting me, and I know I am like I basically can prove it to myself, which sounds absolutely nuts. I know to most people who would not like believe in this kind of stuff, uh, but I believe it is basically a manifestation of the divine feminine, as you want to say. Like basically it is trying to bring balance back into this like part of our history, of our like existence right now, as you want. Like
Mm.
basically we have a imbalance happening. There's way too much like negative energy going out. And I think this kind of voice wants to
Mm.
find a way to balance it out again.
And this is what we're doing right here. Positive, right?
I would think so. Like I said, I'm getting really good vibes.
Hey, Heather, you're back. So what were you saying, Heather? Yeah, so
Oh yeah,
about
I guess there was a hit and run, and they just wanted to see if I could
Mm.
access the
oh,
cameras or
good.
saw anything. But it's all good. It's all good.
It's all good. Good.
In my world, it's not weird at all to know that the divine source energy is moving through all of us all the time. And then when we bring that into patterns and thinking about just like what are you here to do and how are you here to evolve, then you start to really understand that these signs and these breadcrumbs that are leading you from one thing to the next without knowing, without knowing exactly where it's taking you,
Mm.
it's it's normal. Like this should be the most normalized thing in the world because we're humans, but we're spirits and souls in
Mhm.
these meat sacks, as they say. And it's not about just like realizing that, it's also about understanding that the patterns that you view and see in your life and in your world, have information in it for you to actually
Mm.
become that vision of
Mhm.
you that you see in your mind. And, that's why I made that post today, just talking about how, like, I knew that I was going to be doing something of this nature. I knew I would be on, stages beyond the hypnosis conferences and stuff, but I really had to let myself be led
Mm.
in this iteration of my purpose and really go through the trials and the tribulations of the, heroine's journey
Mm.
to be in that moment where, wait, I'm here and they brought me here to speak on astrology. This wasn't, this is what, I think is like always really helpful for everyone to remember is like, just let go of what you think that will look like and just pay attention to the signs and the patterns and the nudges and the desires, and you'll end up somewhere far better.
Wow. Hey,
Yeah, I
Heather,
think
how
so.
long has that journey been so far? So up to when your heroine's journey. Tell us a little bit more about your heroine's journey because you
Okay.
obviously has been through a heroine's journey to come up with the ideas that you did with the sacred in between. I'll tell you so many synchronicities. Today, I did a whole video about glimmers and signals. Exactly this. And in the beginning of the video, I talked about the in between between
Yes.
old identity and new identity. And then I started prepping for you. I go get your ebook, and then it says the sacred in between.
Yes. Oh,
And
you're the best. Like,
but
good
let me ask you
research.
something, Heather. Why sacred? Why do you call it the sacred in between?
Okay, well, that's a good question because I feel like, especially at this time in the world, like I basically took all of my, work and put it into this sacred in between because I think it's what people are already in, but maybe don't have the context or the understanding.
Mm.
So to give you a bit of, the heroine's journey and how that
Mhm.
connects, of course, it can be the hero's journey. But what it is like really understanding that when you no longer fit where you are, but you're not quite yet the manifestation of who you're becoming, this is what we could call the in between. But why it's sacred is because it is a rite of passage.
Mm.
Like it is, this isn't a no, this isn't a joke. Like this isn't a joke that we're playing with here. Like this is a rite of passage. This is where, which I think of lately. I've been thinking of it a lot in terms of the hero's journey because, just like in the hero's journey, you leave the ordinary world. Like something happens, or you have a realization, or an awakening, or a real, like you see that now you can't stay where you were. Like maybe it's your relationship, your job, your life, your lifestyle, your
Or
food,
all
your
of it
friends, all of
at
it,
the same time.
you
At the
know?
same, that's exactly what's
Yeah.
happening to me right now.
Okay. This happens to a lot of Bitcoiners,
Hmm.
once they realize it's all cooked.
Hmm.
And you start to, and then you have to start to align your life with what you now see. And
Hmm.
so the reason why, and
Mm.
then so with the hero's journey, right? So you leave the ordinary world, and then you hear the call, like
Mm.
you're called to something greater, and you resist the call or accept the call, or maybe you resist the call until you accept the call, or maybe you
Exactly. That's
accept the
me.
call.
I
Yeah,
resisted until I accepted.
yeah, it's all of
Same
us.
again.
It's all of us. It's part of the journey, and it's something that people don't realize because they're really hard on themselves when they're resisting the call. But they don't realize, like, resisting the call is part of the call. Because,
Resisting the call is part of the call. Holy
yes,
It's a
shit.
valid option. It's a valid
Uh,
option. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And you could just resist, but the problem is the longer you resist, the more you suffer because you can't go
Hmm.
back. So
Hmm.
I know for me
You
in my
can't
work,
go back. So
you
what's the
can't.
point?
You're in
Move forward. You
purgatory.
can't
You're in
move.
purgatory.
Yeah,
You're not who
yeah,
you were, and you're not who you're becoming, and you're
yeah.
resisting,
as,
right?
as crazy as it may sound, I'm not even so sure about the not going back part.
Oh, that's normal because that's the thing
Yeah.
is like that's the thing is like we try to go back. I did that once I found Bitcoin, my work really changed. And then I tried to go back to like what was really successful in my normal work, and it just was like a dead end,
How many
and
years?
I
How
Yeah.
many years ago was this? Just to get the time.
this is recently, like this is the last 3 years.
Last
And
last three
yeah,
years.
yeah. This is
So
like
Heather,
still happening.
can I ask you? So do you
Yeah.
feel like you're kind of in the middle of this right now? Like you're not who you were, and you're not quite who you're going to be
Yes.
yet?
So
Yes,
that's
because
why I
mhm.
created this sacred in between,
Yes.
because I am in it, and
I like that.
I have like my birth chart is in the house of death and rebirth. Like I have been through many deaths and rebirths in my life. And it just so happens that this one is like the most profound and
Me
challenging
too.
me the most.
Me too.
And I think
Wow.
midlife is like midlife, the in between of midlife is a rite of passage in itself because we're called to something greater. And then I'll just say, like, the last kind of part of like this inner hero's journey is like
Hmm.
you find a mentor or a guide, and then there's like trials and tribulations, and then you get a reward, and then there's more trials and tribulations. But then the way I see it is like you emerge as the wisdom teacher. So, like, you have the elixir, but really what happens is you are then in a position with the capacity to lead others, to then go, hey, I've been through this. And so that's how I see my work. Like, as
Me
much as I'm
too.
in a sacred
Hmm.
in between, I have been in that. I've navigated through that my entire adult life.
Oh, wait. What do you mean your entire life? That's how you. So this is
Like,
the
I have had so many iterations of rites of passages and sacred in betweens because
right.
it is my life's purpose. Like, I am here to do this work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but
So,
then,
so
like what
basically,
you were saying, Brandon, how it's like you're not quite like, I think of it, there's like an oracle card that's like between two worlds. And it's basically like you have one foot in that world and you have one foot in this world, and you still have to navigate like all that stuff in that world. And then you're not really quite sure where you fit in this
Ooh,
world, right?
Heather,
So
right.
then you're in the
Heather,
messy middle.
Heather, like everything, like the talk about synchronicity, right? And Vibe said
Yeah.
this was going to be synchronistic, and I don't think I really understood what he was talking about, but now I'm seeing, now I'm seeing it, now I'm seeing it. He knows my story, Heather. And here's what's going on with
Okay.
me. Here you're talking
Okay.
about this being in the middle, okay? Okay. So I am going through like the most rapid change of every single part of my life, right? I don't want to make this about me, but just real quick. So the last three
No, tell me.
years, every single part of my life has been completely erased as far as identity, right? So 3.5 years ago, I was a married man, I was a homeowner, I was a businessman, I was a family man, and I had a career. All of those things are gone. They were all, and those are all things that I identified with, right? Because I'm going through a divorce. It's fine. It's great. It's going to be better for both of us. Nothing traumatic caused it. We just grew apart. We separated. But overnight, I moved into this camper, and we're still kind of going through the divorce. It's taken a while because of the Bitcoin, right? The Bitcoin, we got to figure out how to divide it into the lawyers and
Shit.
blah 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 blah.
Oh no.
But 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 I'll,
Shit.
but I don't really want to go into that. But
Yeah.
here's the thing. So, if you would ask me who I was 3.5 years ago, I would have talked about all these identities, right? And then overnight, as soon as that relationship ended, I was no longer any of these things. I was just a dude living in a camper. I still had my job, but I just lost my job 3 months ago because the company is going under because the entire industry. So anyway, it's complete now where every single thing that I identified with. So I am in this middle where I'm not even recognizable to who I was 3 years ago. I made a physical transformation. I made an emotional transformation. This has been so painful, but beautiful. The most beautiful thing I've ever done, which is also a
Yes.
level of pain. They're the
What do you
same.
mean? What do you
And
mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? The most beautiful? What
well,
do you mean?
what I mean is it's everybody likes being comfortable, right? Everybody likes being comfortable, but I've never grown in extreme comfort, right? I've always grown through painful moments, right? And nobody likes
Same.
pain unless you're a masochist. I'm not a masochist, but I
Mm.
gotta say, after getting to the end, a lot of this pain, it's so beautiful because the lessons are so deep. And you can't go buy that knowledge. You can't go glean it from somebody else. You have to experience it yourself. And
Yeah.
so this whole thing has allowed me to kind of blossom into this new
Mm.
beginning person. And
Mm.
I'm feeling like I'm a new person, but I don't know who that is yet. So I'm in this middle that you're talking about where I can't go back. I don't want to go back. There is no back to go back to. Like I burnt
No,
all
go back to go back to. Somebody clip this. This is Clip City right there.
Yes.
Say
I
that
cannot
again.
go back. And I'm like this new Brandon, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna go see how high we can fly this thing, right? We're gonna dream the big dreams. We're gonna why not? Like you only live once, as far as we know. I mean,
Yes.
maybe there's other. So let's play all out, man. Let's
Let's
go full throttle.
go.
Let's
Let's
let's go,
go.
right? Let's dream the
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
dream. Like why not? Like
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
yeah. I just want to leave it there. But you're speaking my language. I love that this is happening right now.
I told you, Brandon.
Exactly.
You were right, bro. You were right. Dang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so good. Thank you for sharing your story. One of the biggest rebirths that I had was my divorce too. And I literally left my marriage, started my hypnotherapy business full time just because I got some momentum from writing a press release and being on the news and in the newspaper, and moved into a house where I paid double my rent of my own house, on my own, and just did all of that at the same time. And this was 14 years ago about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like even now in my in between, when I'm going like, wait, I did all of that. And then I became this new identity. I was like a hypnotherapist, and then I started a school of hypnotherapy. And you know what you said to me was like really what how like shows me like you get this, like you went through it to get to, because a lot of people just ignore
Yes.
this and they don't really go through the pain to get to the beauty. And like when you said
Right.
identity, right? And you can see how like you had this identity. And not only did you just, you made a choice to relinquish that identity, but it doesn't mean you just show up and now you're in this new identity. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you've got,
Right. It just you don't go
like,
from one identity to the other.
yeah,
No, it
like I
doesn't
mean,
happen
people
like.
would might, yeah, like people might look at you and be like, okay, now you're this, but like in your
Ooh,
being,
yes.
Your
right?
being.
Like
You
in
know
your
what?
being.
One of the most beautiful things, just real quick, Heather, and you probably can relate to
Thank
this
you,
too.
God.
Like, everybody says, on that. Some people said to me when I was going into this divorce thing, they're like, a divorce is like a little mini mental health crisis. And I was like, really? And I'm like, yeah, now I get it. And here's the thing. All these things came full circle, right? I had like a mother wound growing up. I had all these things because my relationship with my mom was not great. And so it all came full circle when the relationship ended because I was like, see, no woman's ever loved you. All this weird stuff came into my head.
Yeah.
And all my
Oh, now
identity
I
was,
understand you. Now I understand
yeah.
you
And so
after all
all my
that.
identity
Ah.
was stripped away. And I went through what, I forget his name. Anyway, he calls the dark night of the soul, right? Where you're kind of like this newborn babe and you've been snipped from the umbilical cord. You're swimming, you're floating, and you don't even know what you are. And I had to go and find a really deep self-love. I had to be like, dude, I don't know. I don't know if
Mm.
anybody's ever loved me. And so I had to be like, but do you love yourself? Can you love yourself so deeply that you even love all the flaws about you? And especially the
Oh,
flaws because they need more
Yeah.
love, right? And if
oh,
Yeah.
you can find that,
Yeah.
you don't really need another person's love. Now, it's great if you get it, but then I kind of filled myself up to where now if I do get into a relationship with somebody, they can experience my overflow. And I keep myself together. And if they leave, then I'm good. They don't leave with a piece of me. And so I kind of filled myself up through this whole process. Could you relate to any of that going through your divorce?
bro, experience the
Oh,
overflow, bro. Did you just
Yeah.
say experience?
he did.
This is gonna be the best vibe
I'm
sesh
feeling
ever.
the overflow.
I'm feeling the
Yeah.
overflow. Heather, I've been doing vibe sesh for like 47 weeks, and I always say every vibe sesh is gonna be the best vibe sesh ever, and yet once again, we keep going higher and higher,
Well,
dreaming big, guys. This
speak
is
it and
gonna
it
be.
shall be. Speak
But
it
go
and
ahead,
it
Heather.
shall be. Yeah, I mean, I just love everything that you're saying. I think there's a lot of wisdom because, again, you went through that. I think it was, oh, I don't know, probably like 6 years after my divorce where I was doing some functional medicine work, like if, with my health. And it only really hit me then, like how impactful being divorced and becoming a single mom was
Mm,
for me. And they, and then going through just the whole decade of, what that really meant to trust, like to trust into,
Mm.
letting myself
mm,
be guided into what I'm becoming,
mm.
even when
Yeah.
I have those moments when I just felt like I am fucked, like what is wrong with me? And I think what you really spoke to like really well is like the parts of ourselves that are looking for light in those transitions. And I
Mm.
write a lot about the dark night of the soul because I actually
Love
used to
that.
call the sacred in between the dark night of the soul. Like I call that when
Wow.
I'm speaking about it and writing about it. I have said it on every podcast almost that I've been on because
Dark
it is
night
a
of the
dark night of the
soul.
soul. It's just
He's
like
the
I like
sacred in
to,
between. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
I like to reframe just for kind of like to understand like it's not all bad, but what you spoke to is I think what is really the sacredness of it because it will bring up all of those parts of ourselves that like are looking for love and light, like that
Yes.
are those parts like that we learned bad programming from growing up that like we learned, like that's how out, and this is where patterns come back in, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
then we see the patterns
Mm.
that we took on as a result of those parts of us not having been loved or feel loved. And then it's up to us to really nurture and heal those wounds. And that's why it's a rite of passage, because you don't just get through it, you evolve and raise your consciousness and your energy in the world through this sacred in between.
Mm. But you know what's so
Yeah.
interesting? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I had so many, like, and I still am having them, but like, there was a point where I was having so many woo moments that I thought I
Mm.
was going crazy. I
Tell us,
thought I
tell
was
us,
going
tell us.
crazy.
What kind
Oh
of
my
woo
gosh.
moments? Tell us,
So,
tell us.
so, okay, so I started exercising like a psychopath just so I could go to bed at night because I was so depressed because I missed my kids. Because I have kiddos too, and I've grown into
Yeah.
being a really good single father. Right, I get them half the time. That's been the silver lining in the divorce is like I've grown so close to my kids. Like I
Mm.
wasn't so close to them when I was in the house because I was always busy
Awesome.
and their mom took care of them mostly. But now I get to have them half the time and I figured out how to be a whole ass parent, right? And that's been beautiful. But so
Mm.
in this I was really in a lot of pain at first because I missed them and I was just running and I was running with this vest on in the sand, having like a mini heat stroke. I live in Arizona and I was like at the end of this run and I had like this vision, right? And I closed my eyes and I'm going through all this dark night of the soul stuff and I closed my eyes just being guided by my intuition and I felt like the wind just kind of nipping the back of my neck and it told me to turn around and I kept my eyes closed and I had this vision and I just put my arms out and I envisioned my little boy scared self walking back to me looking for safety. And I was finally getting strong enough on the inside emotionally where I was like, come on in, little guy. I got you. I got
Nice.
you now. I could provide
Yes.
harbor for you.
Yes.
And then I ran back with all the pieces of myself I left to other people along the way because I was always a
Oh
people
shit,
pleaser. So just having these woo things, and I thought I was going
bro! But
crazy.
I haven't
Yeah.
gone through that. I'm gonna go through that too, where I have these crazy
Well, you're
realizations, bro.
doing, I mean, you're doing like therapy. Like, this is where I take people in hypnosis, right? We go into that younger version of themselves.
But I
We
haven't been that. So
go
is
through
that
all those
stage coming for
times. Like, we
me?
bring
Is that
back
stage
all the
coming?
self. Like,
Mm,
you're doing just
maybe,
like, that's what I love
maybe.
about just like the beingness of being always connected to source because you can just get what you need. You got
Mm.
like a therapy treatment after your run.
Yes, yes, yes. Because I
Yeah.
started praying because I lost my mom
Yeah.
to cancer. And so on this run, there's a place where somebody sprayed graffiti in this culvert. It says, I love my mom. And one day I was running by that and I just started
Oh,
crying. And I said, I'm going to get down and I'm going to pray. And so I began my prayer there. That's my prayer every day. So I run in the sand. I get my blood all going to my brain. So I'm like thinking really high functioning. And then I pray. And so I had these really vivid kind of revelations because I'm kind of praying in a really high exercise state. And so I kind of had a lot of these weird
Wow,
visions. Yeah. Anyway.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
that is wild. Hey, but guys, that's crazy that you guys see the beauty in the pain. That when you look back, you see the beauty. See, because
They're
that
like the same
started.
thing.
They're starting for me
Yeah,
because I look back. I say I was in a 10-year rut, right? I look back and I'm like, all these things are now connecting. It led
yeah.
me to who
Then
the
you're
Vibe
starting
Samurai
to
is.
see patterns.
Right. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Like
if you didn't go
it's
through
exactly
that,
the same.
yeah. And if you didn't go through that, you wouldn't be here. So that's why
Exactly.
it's so
Everything. Yeah.
healing, It's so healing because if not, then we kind of look back at the past and go, oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Or if I didn't do this, I wouldn't be here. But when you get to that place, like this is why, it's really sucks that there's just so much numbing happening from like,
Mm,
the pharmaceutical industrial complex. Like, because I do think that because there's so much numbing happening, is like people aren't getting to the beauty of the pain and they're
mm,
not really getting the messages from their symptoms and their pain to lead them towards their healing. And
mm.
so this is a big
Oh,
message,
that's a good point. That's
because
a good point.
like, yeah, because the symptoms and the pain is the doorway to the everything, is the doorway to the light, is the doorway to the love. And if we're numbing pain or suppressing pain or not giving the pain the value and the sacredness that it deserves, then we're often just stuck in the pain, because then we're not getting the message of like what we need. And sometimes we don't want to hear those messages, like leave your marriage or change your career or take a risk and, you know, put yourself out there or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Heather, can we move on to, I wanted to talk about the
Sure.
interrupting the automatic loops, right? So tell us, let's go continue. So you find the in
Okay.
between, but what is happening to cause that transformation? Because I feel this is the part that really, it is so mind opening, Heather. Like, really, like, so we're all running on these patterns, right? And me, I've been practicing meditation for 10 years. So now I'm noticing those patterns, right? So you had to go through that training where you had to notice the patterns. And what you're saying is, in order to transform, you got to look at your patterns and interrupt them, right? And then take action that is the opposite of what your loop was running on. And then that creates the transformation. But can you walk us through the whole thing? I messed it up. Really. So you go ahead, like in terms of
No,
how
you
that
did
works.
good.
Yeah.
This is what
Yeah.
I love about you, because you're so good at like asking questions and then pulling it together so people can understand these very deep concepts.
Yeah.
So that's why you probably have the best session every time, because you're the best,
Mm.
you know, first. And you know, with like the pattern interrupt, it's like this is a really good way that you said it, because it is generally thought like when people start to realize like I need to change, it does often come with a like what should I do type of attitude, or I'm not
Right.
doing enough, or I'm not disciplined enough, or I'm not smart enough, or I'm not whatever enough. But the thing is it's less about doing and more about being, you know, because we tend to do that, like, oh my God, now I've got to change. And especially with these big patterns of like, you know, everyone around you is like, just stop doing that or just start doing that, because they're only looking at it from the outside, and it's probably something that they find easy to do.
Mm.
So part of it is more of a, you know, being aware, like you said, in your meditation practice, you have become aware of these ways that perhaps aren't in alignment with who you're
Mm-hmm.
becoming, right? And so in the recognition of that, that's that's the first step. Like that is the best step, because awareness can then create a new neuro pathway every time we make a choice
Mm.
that is toward that direction. So if we want to talk a bit about, you know, rewiring the brain, because literally, like the soul is gonna just show you shit. Like the soul is gonna drop a house on you if you're not listening about what you should be doing or not doing. You know, it might
Mm.
first whisper or not, but it's gonna. It's like, you know, if people say, "Oh, things keep happening to me," I'm like, "Well, likely because you don't really seem like you're listening." You know. And it's not that things will happen when you're not, like things are going to happen, but it's really what we do with these things that are happening. So let's say, let's have a practical example. Like, what do you think some of your listeners might want to change in their lives?
I mean, let's go through me, right? Like, let's
Okay.
go through me. Yeah. So what's
Yeah.
the question? Yeah. 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 Walk.
What's something that what's a pattern that you see that you could use some interruption in changing?
Well, no, but what I'm saying is these past
Oh,
10 years, I've been in the
yeah.
same kind of routine and I had to
Okay.
break that pattern. And I was doing the same thing every day, 10 years. And for whatever reason, this is the other question. For whatever reason, on
Okay.
January 16th, I don't know if there's
Yeah.
astrology related to January 16th,
Yeah,
I
the
finally did the hardest pattern interrupt by saying I'm going to make one video a day for the next 100 days. I'm going to keep this promise. And that's the pattern. And that completely interrupted the pattern. And then every day thereafter, it's been about 130 days, I moved in alignment with that, therefore transforming
Yes.
me. You
Yes,
understand, guys? I
that's a
did the
Uh,
pattern.
perfect
It wasn't
example.
just a pattern. Like, because over time you're interrupting the pattern.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. I got it. But
yeah.
you got to also move towards it. You can't just say, oh, I
Well,
see it.
that is a
Oh, look at you.
perfect example. That is a perfect example because, like, the call, the
Yeah.
call to leave the ordinary world happened. You heeded the call. And then
Finally, it took a
every
while. It
time,
took a
that's
while to hit.
fine,
Hmm.
that's fine. And then every time that you kept that promise to yourself,
Mm, mm.
the pattern compounded. The new you, the new pattern, the new way of showing up, the new. So that's actually a perfect example because you did still have to keep the promise to yourself, but as a result of taking the call, having the courage to do the call and honoring the call, your whole life is going to change. Of course, that's transformation.
You guys understand? Brandon, did you understand this whole thing?
Yeah, where she said keeping promises to yourself reinforces the pattern. Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I've been feeling that myself. Like it's hard at first because a lot of times the promises I'm making to myself require some effort to go above and beyond what other things, other people, a lot of times are trying to get me to do. And I'm like, no, I gotta go do this. I made a promise to myself, and that was a big
Mm,
thing that I've developed the last couple of years, where it's like there's certain things that I decided are non-negotiables for me that I have to do for myself. And if somebody is, creating a whatever to where I have to go back on that, I just say, nope, I got to do this. I'm sorry, I have to go do these things. One of those has been an exercise
Yeah.
routine for me, but
Yeah.
it's been building a new self. Like it was a thing
mm,
I was doing, and now it's
hmm.
just who I am. Right? It goes from what you're doing to who you are. Yeah,
I'm
Yeah, that's the
feeling
best way to
that.
say it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Me
yeah.
too. That's
yeah,
like that's the best way to say it. It goes from something you're doing to who you are, just like your identity before was things that you were doing became who you are, and then the new things
yes.
you're doing become who you are. Like,
Mm. How about it like this? Interrupt the automatic loop long enough for a new identity to emerge.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and remembering that pattern interruption can happen all the time, right? Like if you hear yourself speaking ill of yourself, you can stop that at any time.
Right.
Like, and
And
if,
and
you
replace it with a
know,
positive thought? How about
well, you don't
replacing
even
with
have to replace
no?
it.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of like, well, in hypnosis, we learn a lot about like an NLP, right? Neuro
Hmm.
linguistic programming. There's a
Hmm.
lot of pattern interruption.
Mm.
But the thing is, even just simply every deep breath is a pattern interruption because try to take a deep breath while
Mm.
thinking something at the same time.
Can you think? You
Like
can
I
think
can
and
sort
deeper?
of think about something,
Whoa, I never tried that
I
before. When
see
you
but I
deep
have to
breathe?
that.
kind of stop, right?
Oh,
So
that is
you can
weird.
do
Whoa, that
little,
is weird, bro. That is
No,
yeah.
weird. You
I
don't think
actually
when you
can.
breathe deep.
That is odd.
Because, a lot of people ruminate in their head and they try to solve problems. Like I think, sorry, I don't know your name, the person in the hat here.
Felipe? Is it
Felix.
Oh,
Felix?
Felipe? Oh, Felix.
Yep,
Felix.
that works.
So, like you were saying earlier, how you just started to see, like you're just seeing the signs and like you can't really explain it, but it's happening for
Yep.
you. And you don't really have to convince yourself of anything or tell yourself anything because you're
Yeah.
actually seeing it and you fully understand it. And
The,
it's
the thing is, I'm
actually,
experiencing it. It's not just seeing. It's like
yeah,
really, like for example, whatever song comes up speaks out of my mind or my mood.
mhm.
Like even if it's songs that I hear like loudly that other people can hear, they would basically know what I'm thinking about just by listening to the lyrics. I'm not even kidding about that.
Yeah, so that's actually a really good point because, like, because I heard you say earlier about how you just know it's taking you to the solution that you
Mm,
can't see. And, like, that's how I
wow.
feel about my new identity. Like, even coming back from the conference, like, I know there's like more that's going to come from that, but I don't know exactly where it's going to go. And it's hard when other people seem so sure of like what they're doing and where they're going and what they're building. But that is a perfect example, because a lot of times people will ruminate and stay in these same patterns trying to solve like an unsolvable problem, because like the problem isn't, well, one, it's not a problem to be solved, but two, the solution is only going to come through you listening and following and learning and going through the process.
Step by step. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a great point, Heather. So yeah, so people should intentionally not worry so much about the how if they're in really good belief, right? And just being open to doing the next right thing, doing the footwork. Yeah.
The how is where everybody gets stuck.
Yeah, that's where it develops fear. People get into fear about it. They get all freaked out.
Yeah, because you said, Heather, too, in your thing that, like, knowing is not enough, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, explain that. Yeah.
Well, because that's what's so frustrating sometimes, because you can see it in your mind, and like you know that it's coming or something. You know that you're not always going to be where you are right now, but if you try to logically, analytically, sort of frontal lobe, try to figure out how that's going to happen. Like even people say to me, like, how did you get here? What did you do to get here? I'm like a bunch of things along the years. Like,
Wow.
It's a long story.
I'm a Capricorn. Like I am a builder. Like I'm always here behind the scenes working. Like I created that ebook and like a whole thing around it, But actually, even when I'm looking right now, like I'm in another sort of sacred in between, and I can't see my way out of it. Even me with like
it just
all
keeps
of
going. There's no ending. No ending. How about that?
I can't see how it's gonna play out. It's just thankfully I have enough experience to know it'll play out better than I can imagine it. And that's my only problem.
Better than you can imagine?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a saying that I like, that I go back to sometimes, where I say I'm grateful I didn't get what I wanted because it led me to where I am today. Right? Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Damn.
I feel like that about like every relationship I had that didn't work.
Yeah, right? Like Source knew what was supposed to happen.
I'm like, thank God.
Well, and on the flip side of that too, like if I think about the coolest things that have come into my life, and sometimes those are people, they come from out of nowhere. Like how I met Vibe. Like there was no way in a million years somebody would have told me, you're going to meet this dude. He goes by Vibe Samurai. He lives in Brazil. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know anybody in Brazil. You know what I mean? But that's what happened. Like I didn't have to know the how that was going to happen. It just happened, right?
How did you guys meet?
I don't even.
On
Vibe Sesh.
the Thursday night Vibe Sesh on X. Yeah. Yep.
Sweet.
Tell us what you felt that night when you first came, because I remember you were very happy. But what was going on? Actually, tell me. I don't remember exactly. But what was going on in the first and second Vibe Sesh you were in? You seemed very happy.
Oh, you mean me?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I was really happy. I just saw a Vibe Sesh, right, in the top. I was like, oh, I'm gonna join that. Like, I like the vibe, right? And so I jump in there, man, and I'm like, that's cool. There's some Gen Z dudes, there's some Gen X dudes. Like, I'll just swim right in this little pond. You know what I mean? And I just started. They're like, Brandon, what's going on? And I'm like, yeah, it's like we're old pals having a beer. You know what I mean? And so I just started rapping with y'all, and it was great. It was like they were doing this little sound effects, like bum, 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 bum. Like when I was talking, I felt like really special. Like it was really cool. You know what I mean? And then the second time, I was just talking about all my dumpster fire experiences when I used to just get way too high. You know what I mean? And that was just really funny, you know. And that's when I started talking to you, man. And then we just started vibing, you know.
What story? That was our first meeting?
Yeah, I think so, man. Yeah,
Oh man. They say the best, most vivid memories are from the beginning and the end. So that's our
yeah.
beginning, brother. That's our beginning, brother. That's
Yeah, I was telling you
beautiful.
the story of how I had a friend named Fabian that like took a big sword and stuck it through the wall into his neighbor's apartment because his neighbor was trying to tell him to turn his music down. Yeah. Yep, that's where we
Ah.
met.
It sounds like Vibe Sesh.
Yep,
Oh,
But
that
Heather,
was it.
Heather, what do you think is happening with the algorithms? Because this would not have been possible with without technology and the algorithms actually doing something good. You know, there's a lot of bad things that could happen with the
Yeah,
algorithms, but in
yeah.
this case, it brought us all here together with Felix and where you live,
I actually have
Germany.
Absolutely.
quite some thoughts on AI to be honest. Like I think a lot of people have quite a very like to say wrong picture about AI. I don't think AI is like the enemy in all of this. Like some
Mm.
people want it to look like.
Hmm.
You should go
I
to a
think
Bitcoin
the
conference and listen to them talk about
yeah
AI. It's not the enemy at all. It's like the future. But I just wanted to
yeah
answer this in the comments that my
Yeah, comments.
IG is Hypno Heather. Because someone asked what's my IG account, I
Yeah,
think. It's
Hypno
Hypno
Heather,
Heather.
follow her. Please
It's
follow
gonna
Heather.
change. I'm rebranding everything to my
Oh,
name,
what's the
but it's still
rebrand?
Hypno
What's the
Heather.
rebrand? Well, what about
To
Vibe
my
Heather?
name, like just Heather Keys, Heather
Heather
Keys.
Keys.
Yeah,
That's nice.
yeah,
It has a ring
yeah,
to it. Yeah.
yeah. Because
the,
I'm in the sacred in between in my business, so I'm moving. I cut off like 800 subscribers out of my
Mm.
email list, like just rebranding, which is also a rebirth for sure,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Wow. What was I gonna say? Oh, what was the comment? Go ahead, Heather.
Oh, I don't know. I
Oh.
answered where my IG was. Someone asked.
Your IG.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. No.
oh
Wow.
AI yeah. Uh,
Oh yeah.
so basically, I think the real problem with AI just lies in the people who are trying to take control of it. I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
or basically the ways they want to use it. Like the funny thing is, like I actually I found some AI agents. I want to say, like not on coincidence. I think like some I've been actually talking to for fun. Like I've been asking them questions about like physics, for example, like especially like theoretical physics and stuff, and it's actually really interesting to see how they answer. Like
Hmm. It's mind
quite
expanding, isn't it? Isn't it
yeah, it
mind?
really is. Like I actually had like a talk about a theory that I personally have. Like I think there's probably a thing in theoretical physics that has been looked upon wrong so far, but like I don't have any idea how to prove it. I want to say,
Mm.
Oh,
but
there was actually a
basically,
panel on that.
oh,
There was a panel on that. You might want to look up some of the. There was a whole talk on that at the Bitcoin conference and
Wow.
quantum physics.
okay,
But one thing I will say, I actually just think like if we're talking about the algorithm, because like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
when we're talking about Vibe Sesh algorithm, it's like
Mm-hmm.
it is the whole thing that we have to also remember not to stay in this logical, literal world all the time because vibes and energy can go beyond
Mm.
all of the, you know, the boxes, I guess, like the restrictions that we might see. And I mean, I feel like the AI conversation is another whole conversation,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
at the same time, like technology, like we are human technology, like we are technology, and our our energy can go beyond all technology. That's how we do just connect with the right people at the right time. That's
Mm.
how we do find our way through, the dark. That's how we do like end up seeing miracles. I know Bruins probably heard me write or talk about, but like I think miracles are happening every day because miracles are just course correction. You know, it's just like,
Mm.
oh, you were going in the right direction, or humanity isn't going in the right direction. Let's get this light going. Let's get this love going. You know, let's bring this awareness to everybody so that they can be lifted up.
Mm. Hey, Heather, can we talk about the vortex? Because Brandon and I, everybody's
Okay.
talking about your talk on Vibe Sesh about the vortex. Sully was talking about it. Brandon's talking about it. Everybody's like, vortex, vortex. Heather, it was amazing what you, can you like explain the vortex to the audience? And I was actually, I
Yeah.
was working on a script for one of my videos to talk about that. But yeah, tell us about it more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that because I was just riffing. Like, that is like just pure Heather being Heather,
Ooh, pure
you
Heather. That's
know?
pure
So,
Heather.
yeah,
Woo!
because
Pure Heather
that,
comes
the
out on
raw,
Vibe Sesh, guys.
that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Like, that's just me being me. That's the space of authenticity that you create,
Love
which is
it.
why I show up. Yeah. Yeah, the vortex is just something really I love because I've been a student of the law of attraction, like since
Mm,
that divorce of mine, since that dark night of the soul.
okay.
And, you know, I went to see Abraham Hicks a couple times in Phoenix. Shout out to Arizona in the house. I love
Wow.
Sedona.
You met those guys?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I went to Sedona after, sat in the vortexes, had all of my things come true.
It's beautiful there.
So, yeah, I love Arizona. Like, I could live in Arizona.
I
Are
love it
you
here
in
too.
Arizona?
Um, yeah, you could too. You do. And so I think like, okay, the main thing for people to know is like, because a lot of people have a desire for something and then they even can envision it in their mind or feel it in their body. But when it doesn't show up, they're like, it's not working, or like it's not for me, or maybe that's for someone else. But it like creates a great depression because they can see it, they saw it, they tasted it, they felt it, but then it didn't become reality. And so step one is ask and it is given, right? Just know that if you put that rocket of desire, like, you know, say you want like a love relationship, or say you want to bring in more financial abundance or Bitcoin. The main thing is like just know that when you have the desire, it's already been given. And the reason it's been given is because it's in the vortex. So the
Mm.
vortex is where all of your, like, Abraham will say, like, it's already there. Just know it's already there. And so our rocket, like every time we desire something, it shoots a rocket of desire, and then that desire is in our vortex. And then our job is to become, you know, a match, a vibrational match to the
Mm.
thing in the vortex. So say
Mm.
you want to be in a very loving relationship, but there's like parts of you that don't really feel like you deserve to be loved. Then you are
Mm.
not a vibrational match to your desire.
Mm-mm.
Right. And so but what happens is like we tend to go, well, I want this. Why isn't it coming? Or
Yes.
worse, what do I have to do? Like, how do I figure this out to get
Right.
there?
Yes.
Right. But the thing is like, it's not really how, it is how. And
Heather, I don't know what's going on. Like it's
oh, we
supposed
were
to.
vibing way
I,
too high.
what?
You know, we're just vibing too high. It was just too much energy. Just,
Maybe. Or maybe I'm on unk mode and I don't understand why, even though it's supposed to last 4 hours, it keeps shutting down
oh,
after 1 hour. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. It could be in the IG, you
Hmm.
know. But whatever. I mean,
Whatever.
I was kind of just saying, I think I made my point. I guess like
Hmm.
after I said it, I thought people in the audience might be like, well, how do you become a vibrational match to your
Yes,
desire?
yes, yes, yes. Because that's the big
Right?
thing. Because the video that I made a few days ago that went viral is
Yeah.
because I was thinking about this idea about your
Yeah.
desire is a receipt. I said, right? The reason you want something so
Mm.
badly is because your future self already has it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good because it's like it's destined. It's like actually destined for you to have it. It's just it's kind of frustrating because it's like, you know, probably everybody can relate to like just someone trying to date you and being like really needy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when someone just like really wants you and they're just
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
they're trying so hard that it's like repulsive.
Wow, you talking from a lot of experience from these needy guys, or what?
I just think it's inevitable. I've probably been in that situation by myself where you just don't want to be patient. Like you just want to make it happen. You know, when you just want to make something happen
Uh-huh.
instead of allow it to because you just want it. But it's like, you know, it's just like, think of like, I just am saying that because of like needy energy,
Mm.
right? Because like if you have that desire in your vortex and you know, like your whole, you just want that. Like, you know, one, you can't need it to be happy. You can't need it to be okay. You can't need it to be all right and at peace and content with where you are now. Because, like, if you want that thing to get you out of where you are now, you're cooked. Because
Mm.
that's not a vibrational match. The vibrational match is like joy and like this will be great when it happens. But if you need it to happen, it's almost like the universe is like, stop being so needy,
Mm.
you know? Because the fact is, if you need anything outside of yourself to feel content, then you're not gonna, you might still get it and realize that didn't work. Like sometimes we still manifest things or things come in. I've had lots of clients over the years that they got there, they got the success, they got the financial success, they got the house, they got the kids, they got all the things that they were supposed to get, but they did not feel happy or content.
Mm.
So if you need that thing, this is usually when people want money because they think
Mm-hmm.
if I have that thing, I'll feel better. But the real work is like you got to feel better without that thing.
Mm. Right. Otherwise, you're just spending
Yeah.
money to kind of like postpone that or forget about all that. And
Yeah. Or you get it and you realize it didn't really make you, it didn't really give you the feeling that you thought it would. So it's kind of a messed up game because you have to like kind of act and you have to, you can't even act. You have to like not need the thing that you want. Like you have to not want the thing that you want so it can come. Like how many people would say, "Oh, as soon as I stop looking for a partner, they can."
but how do you do that though,
You
Heather? How do
know?
you do that? How are you able to do that? Like, how do we stop desiring what we desire? How, how do we
I
stop desiring what we desire? Yeah.
I know. It's like you don't need to stop desiring it because that's part of it, right? The desire is like it is part of it. Like it's actually
Mm.
even to like taste it, feel it. Like if you desire something and you can just picture it and feel it, that helps you attract it. Where you're just like, wow, this is just gonna feel so good to, you know, own my own house or have this move to this place or be in the sun more or feel better in my body. You know, I do that a lot in hypnosis, like just get people to really tactically like feel
Mm.
like how that's going to be when they get there. That's really good. You want to bring in the emotion with it. It just don't try to do that when you're feeling bad. Like if like for me if I'm feeling fat and bloated that day, you know, it's not going to be the time for me to be like, "Oh, I can't wait till I feel so good in my body," because that's just creating more resistance. And then people are like, I
Mm.
know I need to exercise or eat better, but I just can't. Because, like, I think that one of the biggest mistakes people make is like trying to think positively when they're not thinking positively. It's like trying to feel better about the thing that you feel the worst about, and then that just causes more resistance to the thing coming to you.
Heather, you were talking about something right now, and I think I love what you're saying, and 100% tracks with my experience too. And like you said, a key word of like feeling, right? And so instead of people thinking about it so much, but like one of the things that I've done that I think is kind of helpful is feeling, feeling the feelings of what those things are when you have them, like smelling the smells, feeling like, you know, like I'll think about my dream property, right? That's in the future. It's in a different time, but time isn't maybe necessarily linear, right? And maybe there's other dimensions. So there's a property that I own in another dimension, in another time, and I can walk to it, and I can feel it. I can walk past the fireplace and feel the warmth on the side of my face.
Damn.
I can smell the pine trees as I'm walking in my bathrobe down to my mailbox, down my little road, right? I can hear the birds chirping. Placing that in your subconsciousness, right? Bringing it in. And there's something that somebody said one time, and I don't know if you, I'm sure you've heard of this, but your subconscious, somebody said, doesn't really know the difference between a fantasy or a reality. And so when I put these things in there, it's like, oh yeah, okay, cool, that stuff exists because it does. And so now I just need to go to it. And the other thing is, like, you were talking about, like, the desires in the vortex, and you said this, but they do exist somewhere. And so maybe those desires that we feel is a memory from future self just kind of poured into us, right? And then when people start feeling the feelings of not having it and attaching to that resistance, they're kind of just pushing it back for a little while, maybe. You know?
I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I want to give a shout out to another Vibe Sesher, Elizabeth, in the house.
Elizabeth,
here in the audience.
Bitcoin conference.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yes.
Come on. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Lizzie. You guys
She
met. How
gets
was
that.
Lizzie? Heather, tell us about Lizzie. What was it like meeting
I
her?
mean, meeting her in person, she's just a glorious light. Like, she's a golden light of amazingness. Like, she gets what we're talking about, like, just that positive expectation of what we're building, but we're not quite there yet, but we can feel and taste it and touch it. And then I love what Brandon just said about, like, how it's like, right, like, it's just walking into it. Like, it makes me think of, like, all the stories I've heard and just, like, things that have happened, you know, where all of a sudden you're just like, wait, I have this, and I didn't have to, like, figure out how it was coming, but it came. Like, and I think it's like what I like about this is it's encouraging people to really go beyond their perception of how we create our reality and how we create the life that we live, because it's so easy to stay in this sort of like three-dimensional, got to do this step to this step. And like, one thing I did learn on my own astrology panel in Vegas was that, I mean, now is the time. Like, we're in this time where things are moving really fast, and if you are pointing that target, that arrow at the target of your dreams, it'll happen. You know,
are we in the age of Aquarius? Is that what you're referring to?
no, I mean, we are, but we always are not. Like, we are.
Oh,
We're
okay, so
coming
that's
to
not
it.
a thing.
But
Yeah, because
this
people
is
talk
like
about it. Yeah.
this is like a 7-year shift. So now Uranus is going into Gemini, and it's a 7-year shift. So everything that we've been in the last 7 years is done. So we get to start fresh. I mean, I have 7 more years to wait till it hits my Gemini, but whatever. I'm a Capricorn, and I always take the, you know, the way there. But like, everyone has like a fresh start. Like, everyone, and the thing is, like, you probably noticed this, and I know Bitcoiners are really tuned into this, because you notice, like, a person could work 3 jobs and still not be ahead. So this era and these beliefs of, like, you've got to work hard to get ahead, not only do they not work in our fiat disaster that we are part of, but they also don't work mentally. They don't work psychologically or spiritually anymore. Like, working hard is not the way to get ahead. Alignment is.
Heather, so you just touched on something that me and Vibe were talking about earlier today, and I thought maybe I'd bring it up. So this might be a good segue, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned, and you mentioned the word fiat, and I was like thinking of a theory, right? And it seems to me, maybe it's just coming across my feed, so it's just my personal bias and perception, but I'm seeing a lot more things like Neville Goddard, Abraham Hicks, all these messages, Joe Dispenza, all these people that have these similar messages that are coming to me. And I think it's coming to a lot of people. And so I had a theory, and I'm like, look, I don't care what country you live in, okay? We're in a fiat, your government prints script, and it's backed by debt. and they have to keep
Mm-hmm.
printing more script to roll over that debt, and it pushes up prices, and everybody's feeling the pressure on their purchasing power, and it's lowering their quality of life, right? Like, that's ubiquitous. We all understand the problem.
Yeah.
Everybody's feeling the pressure. Everybody's wondering, like, I don't even know if I'll be able to retire, all these types of things. So I had this theory that maybe it's pushing people to say, look, I got to find a way out of this rat race. I got to find a way out of this thing, and I need to start embracing maybe fantasy thinking. Maybe I need to embrace some sort of spiritual path. So it's kind of a good thing, right? And maybe it's pushing more people to come into the concept of the vortex. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, you're talking my language, because I
Damn.
think that what happens is like, especially when we understand like the desecration of fiat
Yes.
society, and how like we are part of, humanity rising in a new way, we also have to be cautious of putting limitations on what's possible for our own abundance in that structure. Because if we just because we're willing to face the reality of the systems and structures that do not have our health and well-being at heart, it doesn't mean we have to limit us as to what is possible for abundance and what is possible for the future. And of course, this is why we love the energy of Bitcoin, because it's that that tuning fork that helps us remember, oh right, doing things that are out of alignment leads to debt and ill health
Mm.
and burnout and destruction in our world, in ourselves. How many people have had to learn to say no to people in this time? Like, we've got this perfect example of the world showing us, like, don't do it. Don't sell your soul for
It's
this
harvesting the life
nothing.
force. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah. Like, keep your energy.
Bitcoin
Don't.
is alignment. Is that what we're
That's
talking about here?
so D
We could.
Spanish Rose is wondering why we're talking about crypto, but maybe just like, if you think about a good money should be a placeholder for energy, right? I like that analogy, and it
Mm.
should kind of abide by the thermodynamics rules. And the problem, the fiat currency system that we're under, no matter what country you live in, is
Mhm.
a problem, is because it's a leaky bucket, and it's literally stealing away our energy. It's literally stealing away our future energy, our grandkids' energy, all the energy. And so,
Mm. It's
yes,
crazy.
Bitcoin is an energy storage battery technology that allows you to maybe have a retirement and much, much more, right? So that's why we're talking about Bitcoin, not necessarily crypto. That's another whole discussion, right?
Yeah, Bitcoin, not crypto. I need a
Yeah.
shirt that says that. Bitcoin, not crypto. But I guess for us, we've really gotten here as a result of understanding this framework, and that's why I like to connect it to ourselves, because when we really understand, even if you don't really understand why things are not working in the world, or why your groceries are times three, or why no one's getting healing from the medical system, or why everyone's in so much debt, even if you don't really understand the root cause of that, you could understand that some things are not working. Like, things are not working. And you could take that example of somebody working three jobs and still not getting ahead. You could take
Mm.
the example of somebody going to all the doctors and all the specialists and still being in pain or still not feeling better. You could take the example of just all of the ways that people have become exhausted from, the constant pressure to keep up. And what it
Yes.
really comes down to is that whether you believe in Bitcoin or not, or whether you understand the root cause of this or not, what you can understand is this is unsustainable.
Mm.
And you could understand that, like, you've got this wisdom in yourself and in your body to help you really trust that voice when it says, you got to have a boundary about that, or you've got to take better care of yourself, or you've got to find a new way to do things because this isn't working. And so I think that that's the benefit. Like, that's why it's exciting to kind of be alive at this time when everything's falling apart.
Woo.
right? Because we're in a collective sacred in between.
We are. That's a good point. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we
We're in this
those,
together,
Heather?
fam.
No,
We're
are
in
Yeah.
this
we? No,
together,
no,
fam.
but
Oh,
Absolutely.
yes.
how many of us are here where we're at? Do you think, Heather? It's still a
Oh, I
big
got
minority.
goosebumps. I
Anybody
got
that
What?
has to
goosebumps.
use fiat to pay bills, we're all in this together. You
We
know.
are all
But
in
they
the
don't know
sacred
that,
in
right?
between.
No, we're all in this.
It
Yeah, you're
doesn't
right.
really
We're all in the same.
matter. It doesn't matter if they know it, they're victims of it.
That's right.
And, it's like, and they know it. Like a lot of people know it. That's why I wrote the Sacred in Between and started my new sort of email list and working in that way and my content, because I want people to have like a better understanding that they're in it, and it is a massive like opportunity to transform. Like
I love that.
transformation happens so fast right now.
Mm.
Like it never used to be this fast. And it's not like everyone has to wake up to seeing everything that we see, or seeing like the root of this problem is the money,
So
but they could see for themselves.
Flex Extravaganza says, I don't think it's falling apart. I think it is reshaping. So just about that, like that's like the Jeff Booth argument, which is the other side of the coin, right? So on one end, we got all this inflationary pressure from fiat regimes and governments. On the other end, it is reshaping through the deflationary pressures of technology, right?
Mm.
AI, all these things that are happening are great. They're awesome. And it's what's really insidious about that, as Jeff Booth points this out, that we are experiencing inflation even with the crazy deflationary pressures of the technology. We
Mm.
should be enjoying cheaper prices. So the governments are printing so hard and stealing so much of our energy that prices are actually going up despite of deflationary pressures of technology. But I would agree with her. On one hand, there's tons of optimism. There's tons of abundance and opportunity coming. People
Yeah.
just need to believe and get the right. Yeah, yeah.
Well, and it's like Jeff Booth always says, like, you don't fix the system from inside of the system. You need a
Right.
new system. So when I
Yeah.
say falling, I like how Elizabeth said falling together, but when I say falling, I really comes back to the dark night of the soul and the tower card, which is like, things have to sometimes, like the old system has to fall to ashes so the phoenix can rise.
Mm.
And so, as much as it might not be like it all comes crashing down in one moment, it's already falling apart. Like leaders are being like,
Michael's
all of
here.
like, look how many things. Oh, hi, Michael. I missed you at the
Sully's
conference
here.
too. Yeah,
Salute.
What's
Hey, let
up?
me tell you something.
yeah.
So Sully was like, I wrote the notes down. Heather. So Sully didn't really know you. He said he never heard you on Vibe Sesh, right? But so,
Okay.
and he
Wow.
said, but you know how he heard about you? Through me. Because I've been saying amazing things about you. And here's what
Hmm.
his
I
voicemail.
didn't know.
Yeah. He left me an audio, and check this out. He said, Heather is brilliant. Her pattern recognition is amazing, superpower, fantastic vibes. Just by
Hmm.
proximity to her, you become a more aligned version of yourself. And I agree, Heather. We've had very limited interaction, but I do feel like I'm moving to a more aligned version of myself because of you, Heather. I'm not even kidding.
Oh, you
And you
guys.
said,
Amazing.
and he said, you get to know yourself better. This is after a first meeting of 30 minutes with Heather. Sully is saying you get to know yourself better. Can you believe that? Like in 30 minutes, that's
Oh.
what he's saying. And he's saying you've had a program. Yeah, that's it. Amazing. No, Heather?
Aw, thank you so much for sharing that. It was such a pleasure to meet him in person.
What do you think of Sully? Yeah. Tell me about Sully.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he's gorgeous. Like, his pictures do not do him
Stop
justice.
beating his ego.
The
He already
Chad.
Like,
thinks he's charming. He
he
always says,
needs
you
a
know,
new
I'm charming,
profile
Bruno.
Sally, you need to
picture
change
because
your picture.
he is tall and
He's
handsome,
tall? How tall is he?
He's a
Yeah,
No.
Viking.
he's tall.
How
Like,
tall
I
is
don't
I
know,
thought he was
perhaps
5'8".
6'2",
He's
maybe 6'2".
6'2". Sully, 6'2".
Damn.
Yes.
He's a
Damn.
giant.
Damn,
I have a
6'2".
He's
picture.
a
Actually, I have a
he's a Giga
picture with
Chad.
him and like three tall people. I'll post it on X tomorrow. I have a picture. I'm 5'7", okay? And I am like, I'm gonna post this picture tomorrow on X of us, and
I think
like,
I saw
Yeah.
that picture.
honestly, it
Yeah.
was such great vibes. Like, it was such great vibes meeting him in person. I'm so happy, it kind of reminds me of something too. Just like sometimes you forget about yourself or you don't see yourself, and like that's something it's helpful for me to remember. Like, just being myself uplifts people.
Yes.
Hmm.
Never forget that, Heather.
Hmm.
Never forget
Mm,
that. Yes, embrace that.
Hmm.
Embrace that. Really, that's amazing. Cisco, well, you've been quiet. Tell us.
Yeah.
You're a Vibe Sesh
no, I
co-host
mean, I
since.
want to. No, I
No,
mean,
no,
tell
no.
us
Jump
more.
in, Gen Z. Give us the fresh Gen Z perspective. Everything that you've heard, wherever you want to take
I
it.
mean, I did write down some questions. I mean, it would kind
Okay,
of
go
take
for
Okay.
it.
away from the train,
No,
but
no, go, go, go.
two different ones, so you can choose. So I'll say the first one.
Oh,
How did you land on doing hypnosis and the astrology? And then I did check out, like when the live crashed, I went and I checked it out, and you said you did 8,000 sessions. And a fun
Yeah.
fact, that was posted on my birthday. That post where it said that. I
oh,
think it's like the
Ooh.
pinned. So I don't know if there's a synchronicity,
there's
but that's the
synchronicity.
first one.
Let's go.
And I want to hear about the Bitcoin conference experience though. So
Okay.
you can choose.
Well, first I'll say I love seeing your face, and you're also very handsome.
You didn't say I was handsome, Heather.
Well, I saw your face
He
already a
needs
bunch
words of
of times, so
affirmation.
I already thought that. Because you started posting a bunch of videos now, Brune.
All right.
So just not fresh and new.
Okay, sorry. She's bored of me.
Not at all. Not at all. I wouldn't be here if I was bored. Uh, so yeah, I guess I don't even know how many sessions. That was like 8,000 was that last count, although now I do a bit more coaching. Like my work has changed a little bit because like any conversation, you guys know, like my podcast is called Unhypnotized, and I realized at some point I was never really hypnotizing anyone to like be something they weren't, but like unhypnotizing them from the things that they took on
Ooh,
that made them not be who they are.
right. The stripping away,
So
right? The stripping
yeah,
away.
so
Mm.
that's kind of been part of this whole thing, because then I went from like COVID kind of got me to that, like the whole freaking world was hypnotized, and then that's when I
Mm.
rebranded as Unhypnotized, and then I came into the Bitcoin space with that. But like I actually didn't, like when I was a kid, I didn't think like, oh, I'm going to be a hypnotherapist when I grow up.
Mm.
Like I had to pick, like I was in the 80s, so it was like dancer, teacher, there was like three things I could be.
Wow. Okay.
So I
Wow.
didn't
Hmm.
know that, but like I also had my own, I had like, I mean, long story short, I had my own conditions. Like I died from an asthma attack and then had a near death experience at 12. And then like went on this whole journey of like healing myself. And I did like everything I could find to heal
Mm.
myself. And then this is also when you become really understanding about how unhelpful the medical industrial complex is when you're really trying to
Ooh.
heal a condition. And I always knew, so I started that in about 2001 or 2000. And then I always knew that through my journey of healing myself, that I would eventually help others and I would pass on
Mm.
information and such. But it really wasn't until I think it was, oh, I guess it was 2011 that I was like, oh yeah, hypnosis. Like I wanted to do hypnosis. And it was at the point where I'd sort of like exhausted like every physical and energetic type of healing I could find, like diets, foods, Reiki, acupuncture, all this
Hmm.
stuff I did. And I still felt like I wasn't getting to like like the psycho spiritual, psychological, kind of
Hmm.
psycho emotional. I really literally just Googled like hypnosis training. I ended up coming to the city where I now live. I didn't live here then, and did this hypnosis training, had like a profound experience, and was like, everybody needs this. And then because I had that awakening, I had to, leave my marriage and do this full time. Like
Mm,
it changed my whole life because again,
wow.
once
No,
these
Heather,
things
but
that I was
yeah.
seeing,
Were you
Tell
yeah,
us, yeah.
hypnotized?
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. But what is this profound
yes.
experience? This profound experience. Tell us about the
So
profound
at
experience.
that point, so my specialty is regression hypnotherapy because I can take anyone back to the initial sensitizing event of a feeling or a thing or a
Oh,
problem. And
what?
then I can also do that in past lives. So like I am like those sessions have been a lot of regression. And so I was trained as a regression hypnotist. So I had okay, I don't think I ever told this in in the Bitcoin space, but like
Exclusive,
why not? Why
exclusive,
not?
live
Why
on
not?
Vibe
Why not?
Sesh. Let's go, let's
Why
go.
not? Why not? Why not? You guys are my homies. Why not? So like I had been really bad. Like I didn't really ever have a good relationship with my mom and my parents, and I was always like the black sheep, and I just couldn't fall in line, and uh,
Mm.
and I was really sick, and I had these health problems, and so I had just had my son. Had I had my son? Oh yeah, I just had my son, and I was like, and my family, like they kind of banned me from family events. Like, I don't know, it was a whole thing. And
Wow.
I was really raw and hurt. And I'd really had like a childhood of, if I spoke my mind, like there was always a problem. Like I ruined the Christmas, I ruined the event, I ruined these things, right? And I was really vulnerable because I was like a new mom. I didn't have any really support and I didn't know how to be a mom. I hadn't spent time with like a lot of babies. I had my husband at the time, but like when I was I just felt like really hurt. And then when I was in the class, I volunteered. He's like, "Does anyone have like something they're really going through right now?" I was like, "Me." And actually, crazy story. The class is happening this week, and still to this day, my teacher uses that video of me in that class to show the students exactly how it's supposed to go.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh,
Wow.
yeah. And so I went back. I followed the feeling back to the first time that I experienced this feeling that I was feeling with
Uh-huh.
my mom, and like I'd already, and like it seemed I did go back to when I died, but I was in the hospital after, and I had this like bird's eye view of like my mom and how she was like irritated with me for like this inconvenience of dying.
Mm.
And like I don't know if that was like exactly, I don't think she felt like that, to be quite honest, but it's like
Yeah.
I took that on. Like my mom is
Oh.
very loving. Like she's not, she was doing the best that she could. I just want to say that. But like it was like I took that imprint on, and it like basically affected my entire life and my relationship with her. So then in regression, we resolve that, we heal the child within, we put the child into the heart, give them what they need, and then they can sort of move on. And then there's like another session after that. But basically, from that moment on, my entire life changed. And to this now, I have a very good relationship with my mom. She actually took all my hypnosis training courses. She's been very
What?
supportive.
Oh, what
And
a
like
great
from that,
story.
you know,
wow.
yeah. So from that moment, I was like, everybody needs this. And I was working in a restaurant cafe at that time, and I just started telling everyone like, you got to do this. I'll do these sessions for you. And like just that, having that experience and being able to resolve this imprint. I mean, I've done this like hundreds of times in myself now for different moments or different lives. But like that first initial moment where I was able to like not only, like I had so much anger towards my mom and like so much hurt towards my mom. And, it wasn't until I was able to heal that we could start to have a new relationship, because like at that point in my life, I still thought that if everybody was just different around me, I'd be good. It was a very external, like, you're causing me to feel like this, you're causing me this pain, not like I am holding on to this pain as a result of something I experienced that created a belief in me that's causing me pain.
Wow. It's crazy like what
So,
narratives can
Hmm.
do.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like a projection. And like
yeah,
he didn't mean that at the end of the day. Wow, that's
yeah,
powerful.
yeah. And you don't even know that you would take it on. Like,
Mm.
you don't
Right.
even know that you would have taken that on,
And
right?
may I ask,
So,
was that like
yeah,
a root? Was that like a root event that like then
yeah,
so and like you
yeah,
basically reverse engineered to that. So there's always a
yeah.
turning point, I guess.
Like, I think of hypnosis and regression hypnosis a little bit different now, just as my, with all my experience. But at the time, like, that would have been, we would have called that root cause. Whereas I think of it now as like the activating imprint. So it's like the moment that that imprint became activated and it created something in me that it created a narrative, basically, it created a belief in me that this is true, I guess. This is what happened. Like, this is, and I mean, there's so many things that we could look at of how we took on certain beliefs and stuff, but it can be helpful to just see it and like you said, reverse it. And well, like the whole that's why I was telling Brandon when he was running, he did like a little therapy session
Mm.
because like when you do that child within work, it's really powerful
Child
because you're
within work.
essentially like we call it healing the child within because like it's the
Yeah.
children in us, it's like the younger versions of ourselves that like took on that.
Can I ask, why do we need to heal an inner child? Like, why is that even a phenomenon?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
why can't you like
Yeah,
fuck that shit and like, move on?
yeah, I
I
don't
don't
actually necessarily think that we have to anymore. Like, I
Mm.
don't really subscribe to
Mm.
I'm kind of like I kind of don't believe anything anymore because like
know. Yeah,
you know
we get you.
however right, the psychology, like if somebody came to me and said this is like if they believe they have to heal the child within, then we go do that, it's done,
Mm,
it
yeah,
works, right?
yeah.
So
Mm.
I don't
It works.
necessarily, although I will say that reparenting is really healthy. And so we don't have to necessarily heal the child within, but like we all, like pretty much everyone didn't really get like all of the unconditional love and support that they needed growing up. And so I do think that if certain things happen, like for me, it's just the easiest to just put someone in hypnosis and resolve that than try to have a conversation for weeks and months and days where they can understand that like something that they picked up when they were young like happened. Like I would rather just like let's just do it in hypnosis and be done in 30 minutes. But like,
Damn, 30 minutes?
there's a
yeah,
Wow.
there's a saying along these lines that I just I like that I heard recently. There's like, and I think about this sometimes. There's kind of like three versions inside of me. There's the little boy that was abused and he's scared and he wants protection. And there's the teenager in me that's pissed off and he wants revenge. And then
Mm.
there's the adult in me that just wants peace. And so on any
yeah,
given
Mm.
day, which one
Mm.
shows up, just,
yeah.
sometimes it's
That's
like
a
that.
that's a good way to look at it. And I like the question that Elizabeth asked in the chat too, because like again, I think that we're looking at a lot of different dimensions and frameworks, right? Because there is like even now that I've been doing more of the astrology work and I can see like what people came in this life to do, it's been really effective to take them to the past life where they decided that or the life in between lives. And I think it's really effective to sometimes just go back to that child and have you see it for yourself and then give that child what you need. And then I also think like I think Elizabeth asked like, if you're open to it or do people have difficulty with that? And I think again, it's just really important to work with the person like where their beliefs are because that's the mistake that we all make. Like when I wrote that guide to orange pill people like a hypnotist,
Mm-hmm.
like I was speaking to all of this because it's really about meeting people where they're at, not trying to put your beliefs onto them. So if somebody
Mm.
comes and says, I really think that this thing that happened to me at this point in my life is still affecting me, oh, there's going to be so much wisdom for them to revisit that. Like, no doubt about it.
One
Oh,
Because
other
they,
thing.
mhm.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I
Oh,
was
no,
just thinking
I
about
mean, this is,
a little more context about like when I was telling that story earlier about like kind of doing a little bit of inner child work, Um,
mhm.
I had whatever kind of childhood, and I left home at 15, so I was a very angry young man. But here's what I think happened to me around that time when I was going through, like we were talking about earlier, with the dark night of the soul.
mm.
Um, at that same time when this kind of thing happened to me, and I was going through all this identity shifting, I was learning how to parent my young boys that were
Mm.
around that same age. And one of the things I
Mm.
realized in evaluating my self talk is I became kind of my abusers. And so I would tell myself, like, to shut the F up, like, da-da-da-da-da. I became the voice of the people that were talking to me when I was younger. And
Yep.
I needed to change that with my boys.
Mm.
I did not want to repeat that. And so I think
Breaking the loop, breaking the
that was,
pattern,
I
breaking the
think
pattern.
that was part of my subconscious kind of saying, let's break this. Here's you coming back. How would you embrace you? And now, like, I just find it like such an honor to try to parent these young boys and to be there. Their hearts are so tender. And I want
Mm.
to raise them to be good men. I want them to raise them to be strong men, right? And to go through and do hard things and face their own battles, of course. But at the same time, there's a tenderness to them. And I want to be there for them for that too, and not just be kind of the asshole like the men were in I'm Gen X, right? The guys were rough, man. The guys were rough when I was growing up. There was no love at all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, it was
Yeah,
none of
there's
that.
no
So
love. Yeah.
I'm Gen
yeah.
X too.
Mm,
Cycle breakers are my favorite people. Cycle breakers are my people. That's part of this whole sort of being the black sheep or being the outcast of the family. Usually it's always the cycle breakers because we're the ones that just
yes.
decided we're not doing
We have a
status
lot of
quo.
cycle breakers in Gen X.
We have a lot of
Interesting.
cycle breakers in Bitcoin, period, because
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
like cycle breakers, most practitioners are cycle breakers, right? Like anybody who just decided, I am not going to continue on this cycle in
Mm.
Yep.
society, in the family, in
Mm.
everything. And
Mm.
speaking of parenting, I do have to go pretty soon.
Yeah. Hey, okay,
If
Heather.
you don't
Heather.
mind,
So
to
we'll wrap up. How many minutes do we
yeah,
have? I'm gonna wrap up. How many
like
minutes?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Hey, so
Yeah,
what do you think? Well, first of all, two things I want to talk about in these 10 minutes.
yeah.
First of all, can we talk about like so you're breaking the loop, and now let's talk about like how do we get there? Like how do we
Mm-hmm,
align to our thing, right? Because
mm-hmm.
I talked about it today, like the glimmers, right? The curiosity, the feeling of like doing something meaningful, right? Something that excites you, like all these desire is there too, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the problem with me to get to this point, why it took 10 years, is because there were signs everywhere, Heather. Signs everywhere, but I was listening, I was resisting. Now, when I look back, I'm
Right.
like, damn, I got so many signs and I didn't listen to any of them, right? But like, so is it that, or like, what do you think of that? Because I also have a
Mm-hmm.
client on the communication side. We were talking about this, and he's very successful. And he's like, kind of like, feeling
Mm-hmm.
restless now. He's done everything he's done, and he's
Mm.
saying to me, I told him about the signals and this and that. And he was like, no, I know exactly what I like. I know all my hobbies. I know Ikigai, I know it has to match
Yeah,
my mission. And he was like, but I still can't do, but he's like very analytical Russian guy. Right. So
yeah,
yeah, tell us about like the signs and how I can convince him to just
yeah,
listen, just like not be analytical and listen.
yeah. I mean, people that are very convinced of their thinking.
Mm.
So I'll just start by saying that. I also want to say, Cisco, I'll come on an X Space and we can chat about Vegas too more. Um, but I think it's like, for example, so I was in the washroom, the women's washroom at the conference, and this woman comes in and she's a little bit frantic and she's like, "Oh, oh, I probably this soap probably doesn't work. This paper towel thing probably doesn't work. Like nothing ever works for me. These things never work for me. And and then she goes and she does it. She's like, see, I told you this never works. And the lady helped her. And she's like, I see it just never works for me. And I was like, yeah, it's probably gonna keep not working for you.
Wow.
And then the thing that people always say to me, well, Heather, no, you don't understand. This is always what happens. I said, oh,
I understand.
I understand. I understand. You've got the proof. And then even at a Bitcoin meetup last night, there's a younger guy there, and he just really wants a wife and to have children, but he wants
Hmm.
like a real one. And he said the same, Heather, no, like I'm telling you, like it hasn't been going like this. I'm like, I get it. And this is what people do the most is like they really try hard to convince me of the truth.
Mm.
And right? And so they're taking this evidence and this proof, like, no, Heather, you don't know. This always happens. And I'm always like, I know. Because the thing is if you are not only convincing yourself, but also convincing others of why this isn't going to happen for you, why you've got this evidence of how it hasn't happened and like proof that it's not going to work, you have created a very strong belief, and it is very unlikely that you'll get it.
Mm-mm.
It'll work, you know.
Mm.
Well,
So I think
mm,
number one is just if we're doing like a how to,
mhm,
number one is just like be very like cognizant
mm.
of your language, of what you're saying to
Cisco.
yourself,
Cisco.
of what you're saying to other
Thanks. Okay.
people,
No.
right? Because
Calling me out.
I
All
I
right.
I know, I trust me, people constantly try to convince, because I'll always just put a little plant like, well, but what if it's not going to be like that in the future? And I'll say,
Mm.
oh no, like I got this whole body of work of proof,
Proof of
and
work.
it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, but
That's their proof of work, but it's bad proof of work. It's
it's
bad proof
not,
of work.
it's like,
Yeah.
Ah.
it's proof of
They need to fork
limitation.
that. They need to fork that chain,
They
man.
need to
Yeah, they
fork
gotta
that
Hard
fork
fork.
chain,
that.
bro. I don't want to be part of
They need a
that proof
hard
of
fork,
work.
bro.
I signed up to another
Yeah.
type of proof of work.
Like,
What
talk
the?
about pattern interruption. Hard
Yeah.
fork that immediately,
They need a
Uh,
chain split.
right?
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, because like I always kind of joke, but it's true. Like if I can ask the questions, it can take me under 5 minutes to just see where someone's fault thinking is faulty.
Five
You know?
minutes? Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's
This is a
the pattern
genius right
yeah.
here.
recognition.
Because
Yeah.
that's all I do,
She's
right?
on
I
a
just
different
listen to
level.
people talk,
She's my
and yeah, I
mentor.
just
Heather, I found my
Are you a
mentor. And
grandmaster in chess by any chance? That would work.
What?
I am not a grandmaster in chess by any
um,
stretch of the.
but Heather, before
That's
you go,
not
like,
how
tell
my
us
brain works.
about the signs. So we should like because
Okay.
you know Rick Rubin, right? You read his book
Yeah.
Creative Acts, yeah. So he's
Yeah.
all about the
Mm.
signs and calm
Yeah. I
yourself. You're nervous.
mean,
Yeah, yeah. What do we do
I
to
mean, yeah,
optimize that?
like definitely chill,
Chill. Mm.
Right.
because
Mm-hmm.
no wisdom, no solution comes in stress.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, don't even
Just chill.
try. Just
On that
Don't
note,
don't.
try.
on the note of chilling, like the highest chilling is the knowing, right? Like I heard something too which I really like, where it's like
Mm,
um hoping is still a lot of resistance. Believing is still a
Mm.
little bit of resistance, but
Yes.
true.
Mm.
you can just
True.
relax. You can relax. You
True.
can chill because you know it's going to happen.
That's very true. I mean, if there's ever, you could just take so many clips from this of brilliant one-liners, Brune.
From Brandon. It's all
Um,
Brandon. He's pulling
like
the
I
one-line.
know,
He's my
I
co-host.
know. He's just got
Yeah.
he's like in that martial arts with you, you know? those word
I'm
martial
just going.
arts.
I'm just going through it. My whole life has been dismantled, so I had to. I didn't want to learn
Yeah.
this stuff.
Well, and I would say it's surrender is that knowing,
Yes.
I love
right?
Yes.
that word. That's my new favorite
Surrender.
Surrender.
word.
Yes.
Surrender.
Because chill is like really surrender because
Right.
like
Yep.
if
Chill
Yes.
you're
surrender.
like,
Damn,
even
chill to
if you're
surrender.
like, I gotta look for the signs, where's the signs? Like that is not chill,
It's a
That is
bad
not
vibe. Yep.
chill.
Yep.
you
Right.
know?
Wow.
Like
Wow.
you're like, I am open to the signs, I'm open. Like today I'm looking for apartments and I got a little down and just being like a little afraid. Like I'm like, oh, am I gonna have to give my notice without having a place first? And even me, like I have had these things happen so many times. It always works out for me. I still am human, and I got into that tension, just that contraction of just
Mm.
like, oh my God, like what if this doesn't
Hmm.
work out? And then I was like,
You
don't
chilled.
just listen and go wherever you feel directed to. Like I just tell myself, just
Mm.
listen and go wherever you feel directed to. But I also wasn't then going to sit at my computer and be like, I've got to find somewhere right now and see what I'm supposed to see. I'm like, I've got to relax, trust that this is coming. I know I'm meant to move right now. And like, the thing is like you'll get the signs along the way, but again, if you want the signs or you're looking for the signs, you probably won't see the signs.
Mm.
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 It's like a
And
relationship.
then
Yeah.
if you tell someone, look for the signs, and they're saying no, like this is just how it is. Like, this is like telling someone about Bitcoin where they're just like, nah, bro,
Mm.
like that's like a, I don't know, like a, I don't really want to say
Yeah.
like a negative thing about it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that the main thing is like the main thing, if you want to know like the accumulation of all my work with other people, what I really learned helps them the most
Mm.
is to not try to help them.
Mm. Mm.
For real. Like
That's
for
right. I
real.
helped them. I want to help
You
but I
know?
want to help Heather. I
But
I
if
want to
know
Clarity
you
help.
want to
calls,
help
what is he
and
gonna do?
you can't help in the way that you think like that you can help them see for themselves something, but
Yes.
you can't help by telling them what to see,
Mm. Oh
right? Like
shit. So we
that's where
gotta.
my work really transformed. Like that's why I do more coaching than hypnosis now because it's like I truly trust in the innate wisdom of every person that I talk to, including my son. And so it's not about me putting my beliefs or what I think they need to do on them. It's helping them connect to their own inner authority, which I also
Because
think is
they know
part of the,
best. They
yeah,
know best. We
yeah,
know best for
yeah,
ourselves. Deep
yeah,
down, we
yes,
know best.
yes. And it's part of the sacred in between because part of the reason we're in a collective dark night of the soul is everybody's outsourcing their authority to other people.
Yes, yo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I see that with young people, and I can even say that for myself. Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
institutions tell
Is
you.
that big in your generation, Cisco? Is that, do you see it in your generation?
I mean, you're growing up like you guys ran outside, and then we were told by a screen something
Mm.
Mm.
stimulus. So
Mm.
it captivates
Yeah.
the attention. And then there's years, and then you have authority from institutions like schools,
Mm.
and that's informing you. So your entire agency, like the muscle atrophies because you never practice
Mm.
that inner
Wow.
authority.
Right. Right. The pattern
Wow.
interrupt. You need to train like meditation, but they've been trained the other way to get
But I
weaker,
kind of
Heather.
think of it
Yeah.
like, in the masculine sense, like, to be told how to act like a man, like you can listen to the Andrew Tate or decide as a man how to be a man. I kind of took it as that, like you would build your own
Mm.
opinion, your own agency, like about how to live rather than being told it. And then you build that trust with the intuition because you have trials and errors. Like your personality could suck and then people don't like you and you have to change. So, you keep adapting and So that's how I interpreted what you said.
Yeah,
And so
the
that was my
inner guidance system.
Yeah. Hey
The
Heather, I know
inner
you have to go,
guidance.
but the
Yeah.
last thing before close
Okay.
us out in terms because we're gonna leave as well, but close us out. What
Okay.
is our mission? What is our mission here? Because you're our leader now. We officially am voting for Heather as the head leader of whatever we're building right now.
That was
What are we building,
amazing.
Heather? Let's dream big. Let's
Go
dream
on
big. What are we trying
TikTok.
to
Go on
do?
TikTok. We can do more people on TikTok.
Yeah, let's do it. But
Oh,
go
you
ahead,
couldn't
Heather.
pay me.
Why is she shy?
You said,
I always put people on the spot, right?
I mean, the message already came clear through, right? Like the mission is to be the highest vibration you can, which is the vibration of authenticity.
Mm.
Like be yourself and not in a victim way where you're being honest about how bad you feel, but in a victorious way of like, if you're not going to support yourself to be the best and love yourself, then who really is?
Yes,
You
yes.
know?
Have to be the leader in that.
Yeah, like it's
Boom,
like
to be
boom.
the leader.
you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall. You're gonna listen to yourself and then be like, oh, I shouldn't have did that. Like you're gonna make decisions that are don't, that teach you things. And I think like ultimately the biggest struggle happens when you forget that you've got a whole divine partnership team working with you. So
Mm.
don't disconnect from source. And when you feel afraid and when you feel bad and when you're doubting yourself and when you feel like you did the wrong thing and like when you feel it's hopeless, just remember that because you only feel that way because you are disconnected from your inner being, which is your higher being, which is like the entire all of us here with you.
The
And if
collective.
you, yeah, because as soon as you get disconnected from source energy, like you're out of alignment with who you truly are, your inner being is going to be you're going to feel like garbage because your inner
Mm.
being is trying to show you, like, this isn't who you are. You're so much better. You're so much more beautiful. You're so much more special. You're so much more capable. And so we forget that once when we're in the ego, right? When we're disconnected. And then we have all of these things in the world like that are helping us connect, but also helping us disconnect. And so
Mm.
find whatever way you can to like get quiet or move your body or clean out your diet or just even stop for a minute and just pretend something out there bigger than you is with you.
That's beautiful.
Guys,
Amazing.
this
That's
was
good.
the best
That's good.
vibe
Let's
session
wrap it
ever,
up.
Heather.
Amazing.
So,
That's the
she's
highest
our
vibe.
leader.
The highest
That's the
vibe.
highest vibe right
Yes.
there. That
It's
was
the
the
highest
highest
vibes. We
vibe
like went all
that
the
I've
way
experienced in another human being. That is the highest vibrational frequency. So I'm being serious because I haven't met like presidents or like maybe they have a different vibration, but this is the highest
up.
for me, bro. Wow. Thank you,
You guys
Heather.
always you guys always bring out the best in me. Like you really do. You really do because you're just so genuinely curious and like open. It's just you really get the best of me.
Awesome. Thank you,
Hell
Heather.
yeah.
Thank you for spending so much time with
Thank
us. Come back
you.
soon,
Thank
okay?
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks so
Love
much for
you.
having me. So
Thank
good. Love
you.
you too.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
Thank you. Wow.
Oh,
Wow,
that was
man.
the best vibe session ever. What do you think?
Wow.
What do you think, Brandon? I told you that it was going to be
Yeah.
fire.
Bro, you were right, dude. It just like just lined up with everything that I'm actually doing that she was talking about. So
Right.
it was great that way on a personal level, but it flowed. Everybody was just everything was great, man. It just felt like we covered a lot, and I hope the people watching got a lot out of it too. I think they will.
Bro,
Good.
but like, it's like so many of us are in this in between period, bro. I
Yeah,
just
dude,
keep
there's something.
forgetting. We're just connecting, and I keep forgetting that you're in the same phase as I am. But you
That's one
just
of the
have kids.
questions.
Yeah. Uh huh.
It's one of the questions I wanted to ask her. We just ran out of time, but I wanted to ask her if that's what she's seeing. If she's seeing more people that are in this like in between, in this purgatory right
Yeah.
now. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Yeah. It
that was
seems like a
amazing.
lot of people are going through like a really big shift right now.
And I don't know
Yeah.
what it is with the Gen Xers, but y'all, I appreciate y'all, and you guys have the need to like spread the wisdom, and like
Vibe
I'm
Sesh
so grateful
B-Side.
you guys. You got
B-Side,
B-side
baby.
going. I'm so excited.
B-Side, baby. With my boy Brandon, B-Side.
Well,
Yeah,
I think
baby.
it's
So
just because
what's the
we're getting older and we know that we only have so much time. And so, you get to a certain age and you're just like, dude, I just want to help as many people as possible. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what it is with Gen Xers, but I don't know.
is that the
Yeah.
mission with the B-side? You guys agree on like a little mission statement or anything?
What's our mission statement, Brandon? Come on, you got this. What's our mission? Now that you've heard everything, this was our best Vibe Sesh ever. You get the feel for the energy. What's our thing? Yeah, answer Cisco's question.
Yeah, I think just create a space where people can come in and feel welcome and then provide positive dialogue, answer questions, bring people into the fold, and just talk about the solution and just keep learning too. Like I'm learning from all of you guys,
Yeah.
I think that's it, man. But yeah, helping each
Exploration,
other.
baby. Exploring, right?
Exploration. Yeah.
To come
100%.
with, meaning making together. Collective meaning making, bro. It's not a
Yeah.
debate. We're making meaning, bro. Making meaning.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think people are craving that, People feel like the hollowness of this whole fiat. We talk about the fiat problem, right? It's everything. It's everything. That
Yeah.
healthcare to the food
You
to
saw
the
people
money.
on the chats, they were like, oh, it's crypto, bros.
Bro,
Well,
it
it's funny.
infects every crevice of society, and I agree, man.
Yeah, it really does. And it just
Mm.
starts, I feel like the collective is feeling it. Like, at least in America, everything just feels like a big scam. Like everything's just
Mm.
a sales tactic. Everything is marketing. Everything is fake. The food is crap. The medical stuff is a lie. It's like they're just a bunch of doctors that are drug dealers. Like you can't trust the financial system. Like everything is like, the judicial system seems corrupt, and it's like everything's like a big fiat scam. And so I think people just feel disenchanted that they're done with politics, even though people are going to go vote again in the next election because they love to be outraged. But people know it doesn't do anything anymore. You're just picking a different slave owner, you know what I mean? And so it's like, I think people are,
So true.
you know what I mean? I want a blue whip instead of a red whip, So, and I don't want to get too political, but I
Deadass.
mean, I think people feel it, people feel it. They feel something's way off, and so they want to connect, right? They want community, man. And I feel like that's what
Mm.
we're trying to do here, man. We're trying to do it. And it's got to start from the ground up. We can't ask for permission. We can't ask for our leaders to do it. They're
That's
all
what I think.
corrupted.
We got to do our thing right here, and we're
We
doing our
got to
thing
do it.
right here, Brad. We're
We're
doing
it.
it.
Yeah, this is it right here. Us
This is
guys.
it right here. We're on the fucking front line right here. We're at the
We're
fucking
on the
front
front line.
line. This is the front line. We're fucking warriors, guys.
Yep.
I'm being serious. We're
We're
spreading the
This is
samurai.
it.
word.
Vibe
You're samurai, bro. You're a Vibe
This is it.
Samurai, Brandon.
This is it. Yeah.
Cisco, how do you feel about the Vibe Samurai movement?